All right, we have 10 o'clock. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all for coming today. I see a few new faces, so appreciate that. Does anybody have any public comment for agenda items only? All right, hearing none. I'll ask for a motion for approval of the minutes from April 15th.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of April 15th.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up, for information, we have John Lundgren here from Domestic Relations. Annually, he comes in and talks about monies received back to the county and funds received by their department for child support. So
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Lundgren. I'm the director with the Domestic Relations Office. I'm pleased to provide you with a summary of the funds received for the 4D program by the DRO of 2024. We got reimbursements in the amount of $315,079, fees in the amount of $472.63, and interest in the amount of $10,700.94 for a total of $326,252.57. I'd also like to take the opportunity to inform you our office, $5,255,579.31 in support payments in 2024. Unquestionably, these payments have a huge impact on the families and children of Cuyahoga County, as well as reduce the cost of federal and state welfare programs paid by the taxpayers. Please consider this letter as authorization to transfer $326,252.57 from the 4D account to the general fund.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, John.
Thanks, John.
Just for the audience, what is the 4D program? Can you explain that or dig into
Sure,
that?
yeah. So the 4D program is actually the federal program that was created through the Social Security Act. We're in charge of establishing and creating support orders, both child support, spousal support orders. Pennsylvania is actually the #1 in the country in collections. I'm pleased to announce actually our county too does it very efficiently. We had the third best cost effectiveness in the state. The federal measure is $5, and we were at, for every dollar in support, for every dollar that it costs the office, we collected $9.73.
Wow.
So we're almost double the federal guideline or federal standard.
Great. Great. Keep up the good work.
All right.
Thanks.
Casey's on
Casey,
vacation today.
Casey today too. Next up is for information, we received resignations from Samantha Caber, custodian, effective 4/17/25, and Deborah Crawford, administrative director of assessment, planning, and tax claim, effective 5/30/25. Up for approval is the hire of Morgan Snyder, an intern at the Soil Conservation District, at a rate of $15 per hour, no benefits.
I'll make the motion for the approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is the transfer of Blair Carson from law clerk to assistant district attorney, effective 5/19/25.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is a reappointment of Farmland Preservation Board members for 3-year terms.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the reappointment.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for reappointment. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is the appointment of Jennifer Nari to the Mansfield Free Public Library Board of Directors, who will replace Catherine Mason, who has resigned.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
We got a request to use the green in June and July for the almost world famous Wellsboro Town Band.
Next year they might hit that threshold.
Yeah, they might.
I'll make the approval for the 4 requested dates.
Yeah, I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is a one-year maintenance proposal, which is an annual proposal from Verdon for the maintenance of the courthouse clock outside.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up, the Human Services and Supports Program, fiscal year 25-26 funding recommendations that are listed there.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
By way of discussion, we had a public hearing 2 weeks ago. All these providers came to the table and pitched their plan for these dollars. I believe this is the same allocation that was awarded last year.
Roughly. The Wellspring Mobile Social Rehab is about $10,000 more because when they implemented last year, it was only for 3/4 of the year. So this would be for a full fiscal year.
And this funding is block grant?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up is a 3-year contract with Maximus at $6,600 per year for development and delivery of central services. And that helps with our funding for federal and state programs that we get funding from.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is an agreement with Fire Alarm Service Technology for monitoring service down at the new Trailhead building. It's a 1-year agreement.
Yep, I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Last month, a motion was tabled for the Commonwealth University Mansfield Public Safety Training Institute request for funding.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want to have a discussion, or we want to? Let's have a brief discussion.
Yeah.
We did ask Chris Wheeler to come back over again, and Chris, we want to support the Mansfield Municipal Police Academy. We feel like there is some value in having that in our community to support our municipal law enforcement officers. I believe at last meeting you stated that there are many municipal police officers that come through the academy, and we want to make sure that opportunity stays local here, because if not, I don't know how far away they would have to travel to train, and it would even limit more the amount of officers in our community. And we are struggling with that. Mansfield, Blossburg, and I believe Wellsboro, he struggles from time to time getting those folks. So it is very important. We've gotten some questions about how IRCA and MUPSI, is there any relationship there? Can you tell us kind of the relationship between IRCA and MUPSI?
Okay. At this point, there is none.
Okay.
There was a contract, a memorandum of understanding between Commonwealth University. Actually, it goes back before Commonwealth University was named Commonwealth University. It was at the start of the integration process, but they hadn't decided on a name. And basically what that was is that was a public-private partnership between IRCA and Commonwealth University to support MUPSI, which at the time was the Mansfield University Public Safety Training Institute, and our Act 120 Municipal Police Academy program and Act 235 Lethal Weapons Training program. So that agreement expired December 31st of 2023.
All right, great. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. That was our understanding as well, but just wanted to clarify that. I think what we're interested in doing is using a portion, probably half of this allocation, to fund grants for locals to use that for tuition, and then use the remaining half for a few items of the 9 that you listed here, specifically to help support trainings for the instructors, and to help purchase defensive tactics equipment, and just to make sure the program is state-of-the-art so that it doesn't get closed down. We talked with our partners over in the east in Bradford County, and they share the same sentiment as us, is that they want to be able to train law enforcement officers in our community to serve our community. So, what were the numbers of municipal police officers? I think you shared that last time.
Okay, so in Tioga County, we've done some, name searching and adding up over at the Institute. And we believe that of all the municipal police officers that are working in Tioga County right now, every one of them, with the exception of one, has gone through Mansfield. So we are the only footprint in the middle of Pennsylvania. All of the other academies make this giant U that starts in the Erie area with Mercyhurst, goes down to Pittsburgh, goes across through Harrisburg and Hack, over to Philadelphia, and up to Lackawanna College in Scranton. There's this big void, and we're in business. We're starting another class in May, and it's my intention to keep things rolling.
How many kids or how many cadets are in your next class?
So we actually have one more physical training and reading assessment that we're going to do this Saturday. As of right now, I think we're right at 15.
Okay.
Is that the max you can have, or is that the break-even point?
Our max is 24.
Okay.
That's, all of our facilities have to be approved by MOPEC, which is the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission. They actually come on site and physically inspect. And the classroom that we have approved for that, or our main classroom, seats 24.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. Quite honestly, that number is a good number.
Is there a minimum, like you must have more than 10 to operate and be cash flow positive?
I've never, since I've taken over as director, I've never been directed by the university that you can't hold a class
Okay.
with fewer of those. But every class that's been held since I took over, does generate into the positive.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I was mayor of Blossburg, and we would constantly just have people coming through. Without that resource in Tioga County, I don't know that we would catch cadets as they were coming out. It was talked about, hey, you can go apply at Blossburg, they're looking for a part-timer, and automatically we would have at least a couple sometimes, Now, did they stay long? Usually they went on to the state police or somewhere else, but that constant pool, without that resource there, I mean, Mansfield's in the room, you guys could probably testify to the same thing. Like, it would be really hard to just recruit somebody from outside the area. And it's really nice if we can get some local people that want to become an officer, and we can support them with this funding. We're all about it, so, yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, I'd be welcome to answer any other questions you might have. But yeah, having the facility here is we draw people in from around the state based on a reputation and, quite honestly, the availability of housing at the university. Whereas the municipalities here would have to send someone away and pay for their meals, pay for their housing, and it's in addition to the tuition that they would have to pay anyway. So we've got a very good program here.
Agreed. All righty, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Will it be 13 then?
Yes, that will be
yeah.
Act 13. All right.
First came from Simsbury.
Right there.
Okay, next up, from Nelson Township Authority, we have a request for funding to help out with the water emergency that they had had in the amount of $11,000.
Bruce, can you give us a little background what happened in Nelson there with the water?
I can do that. So in Nelson, our source of water is from the Cowanesque River. Back in February, we had an issue, a water emergency, where we could not produce water. It was caused by a couple of factors. One was the extensive ice jams that we had back at the end of February. produced sediments from the river that we were unable to filter out, so we couldn't produce good water. The other thing is that we had a significant leak in our distribution system about a week before this occurred. So we weren't able to keep our water tower full, and it went dry. So we had to truck in about 100,000 gallons of water to fill the tower back up while we couldn't make water. Very fortunate that Blossburg actually gave us free water. Thank you. But the hauling fee for bringing in the water at 5,000 gallons at a time was about 24,000, almost 24,000. We have paid 4,000 out of our funds. Being a small township, we have a really tight budget. We're getting a loan from the township for $10,000. And so any additional help we can give is greatly appreciated. We do have that leak fixed now. We have no leaks in the system. We have things in place to try to catch a leak. We can detect it when it is early, and that. And we're also working with DEP. There are probably chemicals which are not in our permit now, but would have allowed us maybe to continue making water under those conditions.
Thank you. We had the opportunity, the three of us, to meet with Nelson Township officials and the municipal authority to talk about hardening that system, because over the last 3 years, Nelson struggled with water twice, as I remember, in 2 different flooding events. So we want to try to work with that community and get a reliable water source so we don't have this issue again. And I know we've had conversations with Larson Design Group, and
Yeah, Larson is putting a study together. They had a grant, didn't cost us anything, to look at alternative options and improve it going forward.
thanks for coming today.
Yeah, and I just want to say, we understand municipalities, how strapped you are, the small tax base over there, and it's tough to make ends meet. We
We
understand.
have 120 water.
I know.
systems.
It's tough to, to manage all that. And we see that this is a good opportunity for Act 13 dollars, an opportunity to help our communities. And like we always said from day one, we work with the willing. And if your house is in order and everybody's getting along and you've got some skin in the game, we're happy to help out where we can. So, with that said, I would make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next up is Borough of Mansfield has put in a request for assistance as well for critical upgrades at the wastewater treatment plant.
All right, and we have some representatives from Mansfield Borough here with us today. Can you give us kind of an overview of
I can,
historically what you've done with the system in
Sure.
the past few years and kind
Yeah.
of where we are? And
of course. Yep. And I'll start by saying Mansfield is willing. I'm Rob Fitzgerald, and I am on Borough Council. I'm the Vice President of Council. And with me today is our Borough Manager, Cassie Cowles, and our Superintendent of Operations, Curtis Tice, affectionately known as Beauty and the Beast. And I'm happy to tell you about why I'm here today. So over the past several years, we have made significant improvements to our wastewater treatment plant to the tune of about $1.3 million. And we were able to do that without borrowing because we had reserves, although we didn't expect that we would need those funds so severely and so quickly. We still have need for additional funds, and I'm here today to ask for assistance for what's known as VFDs, variable frequency drives. And they're individual units that control the compressors that operate the air that goes into our sewage treatment plant. Is that a fair description? Okay, I got the expert here with me. So what's happening is those units are continually overheating, and when they overheat, they're monitored and it sends a call out. So a call goes to someone 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever it is. It takes a trip down there to manually reset it, and 2 hours later, depending on the temperature, it may trip again, and again, and again, and again. So the solution, there are 17 of these. There's a wall, a bank of these electrical panels, and 2 of them are in need of immediate replacement. 1 is going to need replacement. These units are $11,500 each, and the problem, we believe, and our electrician believes, is that there's too much heat building up because the compressors in the room throw off so much heat that it's causing these things to fail, and the heat then trips the VFD, and the intense heat also causes the circuit boards in there to fail as well. So a potential solution, according to our electrician, is to get more airflow through there. There are louvered vents on the east side of the building, but there are not fans in there. We're proposing to remove those vents and put in 42-inch fans in each of those to create airflow. That total is about $8,000. So between the 3 VFDs at $11,500 approximately, and the 2 fans at $8,000, the request is $42,500. Again, we have gotten to where we are without borrowing, without bank borrowing. We did do a transfer from our general fund to help the wastewater treatment fund out. We've got a ways to go yet. We still have some improvements to make. Notified this morning, prior to this meeting, that we had an auger failure, which can be temporarily fixed. We don't know what the expense of that is going to be, but we have used our funds, and we're just respectfully asking that the county would come alongside and help, with these VFDs, because it's an immediate need, and the fans as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Curtis is happy to answer any technical questions you may have, because that's the extent of my knowledge of the units.
Other than the auger that's coming up here, what else after this do you need? Or you guys, is this like the final piece of the puzzle?
We might need a course bar screen. That's where basically that gets hit everything first, and that filters out the bigger stuff, and then it goes into the grit tank. The grit tank is part of the auger, and then there's the fine screens. The fine screens is right before the membrane process. And the membranes basically takes the sludge and everything, filters that down, and then recirculates it till it's all perfectly to drink. And so the next one would probably be a bar screen after all this.
And that one, I've talked to you guys a little bit about that. That's the one you keep repairing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from 1960s era. So
They don't make bar screens like they used to.
no.
That's right, yeah. And if I may, I wanted to also add that, we feel that we are very efficient with our staffing and with our manpower and woman power. We get maximum value for the employees that we have, and we're grateful for that. But we don't have the funds on hand any longer. We also treat 3 surrounding townships, Richmond, Covington, and Putnam Township.
Yeah.
So all their wastewater comes into our plant as well. And we are in the process now of creating a new intermunicipal agreement, which would be with the 3 of them and us, because the current formula that's in place for what we're charging them is inadequate. It's outdated. It dates back to, I think, 1995. And so this is a large undertaking, and all of it is going to move in the direction of getting more in line with a plan each year, so that there's funds contributed each year into a capital reserve account, so that we can get to the place where we will have the necessary maintenance dollars going forward. So we expect to have that intermunicipal agreement completed and in place for the beginning of the new year, starting in 2026. It also means, nobody likes to hear this, but it also means rate increases, which we've put in place 2 out of the last 3 years. It appears that there could be another rate increase this coming year. We don't know yet, but we're going to assume that based on the municipal agreement and so forth. So it costs a lot of money to run these things, and we're just respectfully asking for some help. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming over. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
And we'll just make sure that is Act 13.
Okay.
So I'll have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got it.
Next up is a proclamation for Corrections Employees Week from May 4th through 10th.
Yep, so I'll read this proclamation by the governor. Whereas Pennsylvania correctional system, originating under the leadership of William Penn in 1682, was the first to suggest changes in punishment for crimes and continued to evolve from the establishment of Philadelphia's Walnut Street Jail in 1773 and the Eastern Penitentiary in 1829. And whereas the Pennsylvania system, as it became known, was the leading influence in the development of penology throughout the 19th century and the forerunner of modern corrections. And whereas today Pennsylvania faces continued difficult challenges in corrections with 23 state correctional institutions, 1 motivational boot camp, 1 training academy, 2 central office buildings, 7 community correction centers, 21 correctional facilities, and the Commonwealth state-level correctional facilities houses over 38,400 incarcerated people, and the parole field services supervise approximately 30,100 reentrants. And the Bureau of Community Corrections provides treatment and programming for approximately 2,500 reentrants, and whereas Pennsylvania's correctional service also extends to the county level with 63 institutions housing nearly 23,000 incarcerated people, and the federal level with 10 facilities housing nearly 9,000 incarcerated people. And whereas the secure and safe operation and management of these facilities rest in the hands of approximately 31,000 trained, skilled, and dedicated professionals, from correction officers to treatment specialists to parole agents to reentry specialists, and many more workers in various areas. These workers are committed to a common goal, the effective and humane operation of our Commonwealth's correctional facilities. Therefore, I, Josh Shapiro, Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim May 4th through 10th, 2025 to be Correctional Employees Week. I encourage all Pennsylvanians to recognize the vital role these dedicated professionals play in ensuring the effective operations of our correctional systems in the interest of public safety. Signed, Josh Shapiro.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up, we have a couple proclamations that
Yeah, so we kind of late to the game. We would like to add these 3 additional proclamations and resolution R825 to the agenda. I will entertain a motion for
I'll
that.
make a motion for the addition to the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
All right.
Up next, we have the National Nurses Week. It was last week, but I have the honor of being married to a nurse. Our DA is a nurse, so we have a lot of nurses in our lives to help us go through life a little more smoothly and safely. My wife tried coming last year. This year she worked overnight 2 in a row. She had ER last night and Troy. A lot of fun stories this morning. So we're thankful for our nurses. Whereas nearly 4.7 million registered nurses in the United States comprise our nation's largest healthcare profession. And whereas professional nurses in Pennsylvania work hard to keep our families healthy and to provide high quality care to patients. And whereas professional nursing is an indispensable component in the safety and quality of care of hospitalized patients. And whereas the demand for registered nurses services will be greater than ever due to the aging American population, the continuing expansion of life-sustaining technologies, and explosive growth of our home health care services. And whereas more qualified registered nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of the healthcare consumers in this community. And whereas the cost-effective, safe, and high-quality healthcare system services provided by registered nurses will be an increasingly important component of the U.S. healthcare delivery system in the future. Now, therefore, Tioga County Commissioners do hereby proclaim May 6th through the 12th of 2025 as National Nurses Week, and ask all residents of the community to join us in honoring professional nurses who care for all of us, celebrate their efforts to improve our healthcare system, and show our appreciation for the nation's nurses, not just during this week, but every opportunity throughout the year. So, it was last week. I hope we appreciate nurses, but yeah, it should be a daily thing, not just a 1 week a year thing. So,
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up is a proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month, May 25.
Okay, I'll read this proclamation by the governor. Whereas the mental health of every Pennsylvanian is essential to the prosperity and well-being of the families and communities throughout our Commonwealth, and mental health conditions are common and impact people of all ages, races, ethnicities, and socioeconomic backgrounds in Pennsylvania. And whereas mental health advocacy is crucial to raising public awareness, breaking down stigma and discrimination, encouraging self-advocacy, delivering timely and quality mental health services, and supporting people with mental health conditions. And whereas early identification, intervention, and treatment of mental health conditions can improve and even save lives. And it is important to learn the signs and symptoms of these conditions in order to seek and receive help when it is needed. And whereas we recognize the significant role that the dedicated network of advocates, professionals, state leaders, and agencies, local governments, and community providers play in the delivery of services and support for individuals, their families, and our communities. And whereas this month-long observation puts conversations surrounding mental health at the forefront, and has been a catalyst for setting the groundwork for a statewide network of assistance programs, safe spaces, and resources. And whereas we strive to create communities in our Commonwealth that support mental wellness by increasing access to treatment, educating ourselves and our communities about the effects of trauma, mental well-being, and mental health challenges, and supporting our fellow Pennsylvanians as they seek to improve their mental health. And whereas the commitment to prioritizing and championing this mental health is committed to creating healthier and stronger communities where all Pennsylvanians can thrive. Therefore, I, Josh Shapiro, Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 to be Mental Health Awareness Month. I encourage Pennsylvanians to join with their families, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, schools, and communities to share their stories, increase awareness and understanding of mental health, and to recognize the necessity of accessibility, appropriate, and affordable mental health resources, services, and support for all Pennsylvanians. Signed by Governor Josh Shapiro.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion for approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is the proclamation for National Foster Care Month, May 2025.
All right, National Foster Care Month in Tioga County, May 2025. Whereas the families serving as the primary source of love, identity, self-esteem, and support is the very foundation of our communities and our state. And whereas nationally, there are more than 369,000 children and youth in foster care, 12,465 in Pennsylvania, and 61 here in Tioga County. And whereas all young people in foster care need a meaningful connection to someone who can be a support, a lasting presence in their lives. And whereas foster, kinship, and adoptive families who open their hearts and homes to children whose families are in crisis play a vital role in helping children and families heal and reconnect, thereby launching young people into successful adulthood. And whereas dedicated foster families frequently adopt foster children, resulting in greater need for more foster families. And whereas there are numerous individuals, public and private organizations, who work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in and leaving foster care, as well as the enduring and valuable contribution of foster parents and the foster care system is only as good as those who choose to be a part of it. Now therefore, the Commissioners of Tioga County do hereby proclaim May is National Foster Care Month in Tioga County and urge all citizens to come forward and do something positive that will change a lifetime for a young person in foster care. Adopted this 13th day of May 2025. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up is Resolution R625, which designates Marty Shabowski, our Deputy Director of Emergency Services, as agent to sign on all forms.
She's on vacation, so we can appoint her.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up, Resolution R725, a funding request through the Commonwealth for a flood mitigation project in Mansfield Borough.
All right. Again, we're thankful that we can partner with Mansfield Borough on the Arch Pipe project. Resolution number R725, be it resolved that the Tioga County Board of Commissioners hereby request a flood mitigation program grant of $500,000 from the Commonwealth Finance Authority to be used for Phase 1 of the flood mitigation project in Mansfield Borough. Be it further resolved that the applicant does hereby designate Mark Rice, Commissioner, and Jennifer Cochran, Assistant Chief Clerk, as the officials to execute all documents and agreements between Tioga County and the Commonwealth Finance Authority to facilitate and assist in obtaining the requested grant. I, Janice Chamberlain, duly qualified Chief Clerk of Tioga County, hereby certify that foregoing is true and correct copy of the resolution adopted by the Commissioner meeting at a regular meeting held on May 13th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is important, for you all. We know flooding, and we know that what you're going through over there. So this is a good opportunity. This is one of the things that we feel really positive about with moving forward, that we're able to at least champion your causes at the state level. So.
Really appreciate it.
Next up is adopt Resolution R825, remember the USS Liberty.
All right, resolution remember the U.S. Liberty, R8-25. Whereas the USS Liberty AGTR-5, a U.S. Navy intelligence gathering ship, was operating in international waters off the Siam Peninsula in June 8, 1976. Whereas Israel and Arab Six-Day War was in progress, whereas U.S. Liberty was clearly marked and flying the American flag, whereas Israel military forces strafed, napalmed, and torpedoed the USS Liberty at will, using only token resistance from U.S. Liberty machine guns, whereas the commanding officer, Captain William L. McGongle, and the vigilant crew attempted to save the ship from total destruction while awaiting the USS Navy assistance, whereas a fighter aircraft launched from the USS Enterprise to rescue Liberty were recalled under the orders of Washington, whereas 34 non-combat men, women, military, and civilian lost their lives in the performance of their duties, as well as 172 wounded, whereas the Israeli government labeled this assault on the U.S. Navy ship as an accident of mistaken identity, even though U.S. Liberty was clearly marked by hull markings and flying the American flag in a stiff breeze. Whereas U.S. Navy and National Security Agency intelligence chiefs familiar with the unprovoked attack by Allied government have stated unequivocally that Israeli forces had clearly identified the USS Liberty. Therefore, it's resolved that Tioga County Commissioners do hereby declare June 8th, 2025 as Remember the USS Liberty Day, and order the flag of Tioga County Courthouse and other county facilities be flown at half-mast in memory and support of the officers, crew, and their family.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye. And that proclamation, something that I probably would have never even known about, but Roger Bunn was the one that brought this to the attention, and you guys would pass it, the last board would pass it every year, and he'd always, it's nice to have things that are forgotten by history to be brought forth and somebody mention it, so we thought it important to carry on the tradition of it.
Next are 20 agreements for the Department of Human Services that are on your back of your agendas.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion for approval of the 20 requested.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is for information only, April 2025 payroll and benefits paid, as well as April 2025 accounts payable.
Thank you. We are at the point of our agenda for public comment. I know, Mike, you wanted a section on the agenda. The floor is yours.
Yeah, okay. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Spencer, Clinical Director at Arbor Counseling. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the commissioners for helping Harbor Counseling establish a new men's recovery reentry center on the building on Subway Hill. We also believe it's an excellent use of the opioid settlement money to help furnish and get this up and running. We already have 8 men living there, and it's only been like 2 weeks since we had it open, so it's almost at capacity. And it also opens up beds in our now female residence house over at Harbor Counseling. So we believe it will have a huge positive impact for men, women, and families in this community for years to come. We are having an open house in 2 weeks on Wednesday the 28th. I did put flyers back here. So it's open for anybody in the community that wants to come check it out. And I'll leave one of these for you. So,
Sure.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. What is the capacity there?
10.
Oh, 10.
10
Okay.
minutes. Plus we have a 24-hour live-in supervisor, so there's 11 beds.
Great. Wow.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Thanks for stepping up, taking that on.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comments? Please state your name.
Good morning, I'm Mary Ann Heston and I live in Wellsboro, and I've been coming to these monthly meetings for quite a while now. And initially it was to learn, and I certainly have learned quite a bit, and it's become also an occasion for appreciation for all the people who contribute to the well-being of our communities and our county. So thank you. I have written out something, it's a request for you to consider, the board to consider, and I've written it out so I could be concise, but say what I want to say. So bear with me. I don't think I'm the only citizen who has observed that Congressman Glenn Thompson makes occasional trips to Wellsboro, apparently at the invitation of the Rotary, visits which the rest of his constituents only know of by reading the articles in the Gazette a week later. I would like the commissioners who represent our county government and have greater opportunities to confer with our state and congressional representatives to invite the congressman to appear at a town hall meeting to discuss the upcoming vote on the federal budget and how this bill may affect our local communities. I realize that some town hall gatherings have been disrupted by protesters, but I think we could organize a forum for civic discussion that allows for diverse opinions to be shared. An invitation coming from this Board of Commissioners would carry more weight and assurance that the event would be conducted in good faith to the principles of democratic representation. So I'm asking you to extend this invitation to Congressman Thompson, and I am glad to offer what little assistance I could provide to make such an event possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very well put, and we appreciate your comment.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
we can
Marianne.
reach out to him and see what his schedule is and see if there's a way that, I mean, I think that he would be willing, I really do, I think he'd be willing to do that if it fits his schedule. I mean,
He
Glenn-
does, I just want to say, he does visit our county frequently, and his staff just this week were up, or this end of last week, were up to a conservation board meeting, and talked with us about things we're working on in Tioga County, so he does visit frequently.
The hard part is that I agree that there's a lot of people that just don't know when officials are in town or how to get a hold of them, why they're here. So I totally agree. I can see how that would be looked at as, he comes and he's gone and we read about it in the paper a week later and you kind of don't know what you don't know. So I think that we could definitely get you an audience with him when he's in town. His staff is here more than he is, though.
Yeah, I understand the problem with, he has a huge district.
Right.
And I understand, the problem with getting to his constituents, in such a manner. But just looking at these items, observing the discussions today, they're budgetary. And the federal budget is an important aspect of your own official duties. So, yeah, I just think it's very important. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
your comments. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
My name's Chris Limzik. I had briefly discussed this with Mr. Van Loon a little while ago, but the DAR here in Tioga County, they have just recently passed to install a plaque. With this being the 250th anniversary coming up for the Revolution, they want to install a plaque. And we were thinking that we'd like to see it somewhere on the green because a lot of people hit the green there and cruise through. And I think that would be a very good place for it. And I know that, I believe you folks are the ones that own the green, the property. So I just wanted to put it out there that we would like to see the plaque put on the green somewheres. At the next, or by the next meeting, I can kind of do some pictures with, where we think might be a good spot for it. Of course, you obviously know it's whatever, I know they use the green all year for different things. You have to have separate areas for whatever.
Yeah.
But we would like to have that plaque installed somewhere on the green. So that'll be ready, especially for next year, with it being the 250.
Sure. Yeah, I would say come to us with a proposal and, we'll take a look at it. If it's a plaque we can hang on something, like on the fence around Winkin, Blinkin, and Odd or something, so that we don't take up any space, like, any of the green space. That would make it a little more easy to get that set up. But again, we'll look at whatever you guys propose and we'll work something out.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Any other public comments? All right. The next meeting for the Tioga County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for June 10th, 2025. Commissioner news. We just wanted to share a little bit about, our efforts in flooding, with the recent high waters over in the valley and really throughout all of Tioga County. We've had some questions around flooding and, you know, what we're working on. And really, we've been working on creeks and stream maintenance since about 72 hours of the flood on August 8th. It has been difficult for us. It's been difficult to get answers out of FEMA and PEMA and get guidance from DEP. You know, our state and federal partners, I hate to say have been hard to work with, but it's hard to get the guidance we need to do our job. You know, just last week we had a meeting with FEMA and PEMA and thought we kind of had a breakthrough, and you know, we were going to be able to get some debris and some gravel bars moving, and you know, and 2 days after that meeting we have a step back and we're told that, you know, we don't have the authority or the right to go in townships and remove some of this stuff. So we are continually working with FEMA and PEMA to figure out a way to do stream maintenance and hopefully get some funding. You know, Lisa's back here shaking her head. Lisa and Marty have been at the forefront of this effort and have worked tirelessly to try to figure out a way, you know, and we're kind of leaning now towards it's just going to have to be a local effort. Like, we're not going to get any support. But
FEMA is here today. We
Okay.
actually have them out with our emergency coordinator, and they're visiting some of those sites that were
Right.
identified. So hopefully that's a step in the right direction, but 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
And it is a little frustrating. I know y'all are frustrated. We're frustrated. It's like this is the 3rd or 4th tour to look at these, right? And it's great that they want to come up and look at them, but you know, when it's time for the rubber to hit the road and for us to get some work done, you know, I mean, we think there may be some value in doing a localized effort, but it's going to be expensive to do that work. You know, just to clean up the section that the Conservation District did on Upper Pine, you know, I think they cleaned up like 6 or 8 tons of debris, of, you know, 8 tons of debris. And, you know, that's going to cost a bunch to get disposed of. So when you're talking the Cowanesque River, Troops Creek, and Potter Brook, you know, there's going to be a lot more debris than you know what they saw over there. So we are continuously working to find a way to do stream maintenance, specifically over in the valley and in Liberty. So if anybody has any comments, suggestions, you know, we are open to ideas. We've talked to local contractors. They're interested in removing gravel bars in Osceola and Elkland. So that work's going to start here once the water recedes, you know, probably July timeframe. We have some farmers that have reached out to us and they want to do a local initiative. But we think that's what it's going to take is many different kind of smaller local initiatives to get some of this work done. And again, we're working on it and willing to do whatever it takes to, you know, show up for the constituents over in those communities.
Yeah, and it is frustrating. It's, you know, you think, you know, you hear a lot about bureaucracies and the way things get gummed up in government, and, you know, having a business, you make a decision and then you go do it. You know, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, you know, you move on. But it seems like with government and the more layers there are, it's just hard to get things done. And believe me, it's on all of our hearts. You know, when we had all that rain last week, there wasn't one of the 3 of us that didn't have our phones in our hand that night waiting for someone to call and say, okay, you know, it's flooding again. So it's a big issue. Honestly, I feel bad that we haven't been able to get in the creeks and start something, you know. So, but I do feel like we've had a couple really productive meetings at the local level where we need to move. So, and then I just want to say real quick, this is our little time of the month to say something. So I wanted to say something about these proclamations, the ones that I read today. One is, you know, I didn't really know much about what correction officers do other than what you saw in movies, which usually isn't good, you know, and until this job. And I've got to witness like some of the things that they've gone through and dealt with people, which loops into the other one, with severe mental illness. And they treated them with respect and empathy, and it was amazing, you know, some of the things so I'm really proud of our Tioga County corrections officers. They're really do a good job, and I know Harbor works up there and with them, and it's just nice to see that we have so many empathetic, compassionate people in that line of work too. So that, and of course, mental health. I love that we're talking about the Mental Health Awareness Month, because honestly, there's not. Sam and I had a training. Our first week, we went up and watched a training that Human Services put on, and there was a quote there that I've said many times since. The quote was, and I forget who said it, but it was, "Nothing human is alien to me." In other words, whatever human being feels, I feel. Right? There's none of us that can escape this. It's in our DNA. It's who we are. And mental health awareness, is so important. I've lost people, that have committed suicide. People that I loved, and they're gone. And if I could rewind the tape, which we know we can't, and had better conversations, who knows? But what I can do for sure is have new conversations with people. So I have some people in my life that are friends that struggle with mental illness, and I think it's important to talk about it. And I love the part about the stigma of it, that we get rid of the stigma of it. So, and last but not least, I don't want to monopolize our little section here, but May 23rd and 24th, Blossburg's having a coal festival, man, so show up.
Last week, the three of us, along with two of the poli-sci students from Mansfield, took a day to go down to Harrisburg to bend the ear of some of our upper-level folks. So we got 5 meetings in that day with Clint's office, Gene Yaw's office, the governor's office, DCED, and DCNR. We made a full day of it, left here at 6:30 in the morning, got home at 7:30 at night. And they were all very beneficial times. So we request funding. We cooperate with the school districts. Northern and Southern are both working right now to try to get tracks for their kids. Many of you know they run on old gravel tracks in those 3 schools. It's kind of hard to compete with other schools that have nicer stuff when you can't even practice to that same standard. So in Southern Tioga, with Blossburg Borough, school district and the county are kind of coming together to cooperate with that. And then Northern and the county coming together. So we're excited for the opportunity to bring some money to our area to help the kids have better facilities to practice on. They deserve that. We have some great athletes in our area. We want to support them. Mansfield Archbike was part of the project we're talking about. The Wellsboro Pool is one of the projects we're pushing as well. So a lot of things that we have locally, we're requesting money. We go down and have the conversations face-to-face with them, build relationships, so when they come see the funding later on the request, they remember, okay, those guys came down, brought those students down, they care about their community, they're coming down and have that conversation. So we enjoy going down there. We do have some great folks above us to work with. We're thankful for that. But we need to make sure we're always staying relevant, staying on their radar. It was a great experience with students, I believe, to go down. And they had asked some good questions. I think talking to them in the morning on the way down versus the way home, like the expectations versus what reality was probably different. I think it's a good opportunity for them. It's fun working with the university, some of their students, and having some real life exposure through internships or going to DC or going to Harrisburg with us to kind of see what really happens behind, closed doors. Open doors, all doors, I guess. So, but yeah, it was a good day. I'm glad we made a choice to go do that last week, and it was time well spent in my opinion. So,
yeah, great meetings. One final plug, the Child Abuse Prevention and Foster Care Awareness Block Party is Saturday, May 31st from 11 to 2. There is free food, family friendly activities, inflatables, all kinds of bounce houses and slides. And so bring your kids and come on out. It is on the green in Wellsboro. So, anything else y'all would like to add? All right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the commissioner meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
We're going to open the Tioga County Salary Board. We'll have comments at this time. I'll request a motion to approve the minutes from April 15th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
sad to say, but we're going to adjourn that meeting. We'll adjourn the salary board and enter into the Tioga County Retirement Fund Board. Any public comments at this time? Hearing none, I'll request a motion to approve the minutes from April 15th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Up next is an approval for Corn Ferry for April 25 actuarial services, $2,276.
Make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Next up is payment to Citizens Northern Bank, April 2025 management fee, $17,519.36.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And remaining is just for information of the board.
All right, we will adjourn Tioga County Retirement Fund Board.
All right. It's time for election board. I will open that up now. Any comments on election board activities, discussions in that area? Seeing none, I'll look for approval of the minutes from the April 15th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
First and a second, all in favor, vote with aye.
Aye.
Aye. For information, we're getting down to the wire. They've been really working hard down there, getting ready to go. I think we're going to have a successful, I know we will have a successful election. 1 week away. Poll worker training is completed. We've had most of the, I think we had 6 of those. Is that true?
We had,
Sorry, 8.
yes.
Eight training events where folks come in, we give them some snacks, we kind of refresh their memories. There's folks doing it for decades. There's always stuff kind of changing, but it's nice to bring them in, see their faces, and make sure they're all up to speed. We have some new folks coming on. We're always looking for fresh bodies to come in there and help with that. It's a great program, and we can't do it without them, obviously. The ballot box out front and the entryway is open for mail-in, or you can also go down to the office if you want to do it in person. You can request it right there. About 5 minutes later, they'll give it to you. You can fill it out and turn it back in again and be done with voting and make sure you're done. So there's multiple options: mail it in, come in person, or do it day of. And they will help you either way you want to do it. And they're all great ways to do it. So next Tuesday is voting day. So go out and show your support and make your voice heard. Anything else you want to add, Cindy?
No, that's pretty much it. We've gotten everything ready to go out for the different precincts. Everything's packed up, ready for the trucks to come in. Have voters come to the window, which has been great.
Yep.
Yeah, everything's moving very smoothly.
Game day's almost here. We're excited for it. So.
And we do, can I just make a comment?
Yes.
We do have a detour for Delmar South. The bridge at the intersection of North Lawton Road and the Stony Fork Road is currently out of service. So folks trying to get to the township building, coming from Stony Fork, are going to have to go all the way to Draper to the Knowlton Road and up over the hill and back down North Lawton to access Delmar Township South. So it is a little bit of a hike up around there, but and again, I think this just highlights the opportunity for folks in Delmar South to come into the office. If you can't get through that detour, come into the office and vote if you're in town to get groceries or whatever. Again, just request your mail-in ballot at the window, fill it out, and turn it right back in there. So it's a great opportunity to make sure you get your vote in.
All right. Pending any other conversation, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the Tioga County Election Board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for your attendance today. We appreciate it very much.